FORA.tv. The world is thinking.
Yeah, about the protest tomorrow, it's very important that people understand that these are nonviolent protests. If you go to the Reclaim Power website, you'll see a very clear statement of principles that this is an act of nonviolent civil disobedience, and the organizers further state that even if they are faced with violence by the police, they will not escalate. Now, I think this is very important to understand because I know that many of you have covered other summits in the past, and you know that there have been big debates in the activist community about whether or not to have a diversity of tactics. There's been a real reluctance to lay down these types of very clear rules. In this case, the rules are down. They're down because there's a widespread understanding that the best thing that could happen to the corporations that we're honoring here tonight is for a discussion about real solutions that we want to have outside the Bella Center tomorrow. If it were upstaged by a very boring discussion about cops versus protesters and broken windows and violence and nonviolence, that is so not the discussion that we want to have tomorrow. We want to talk about the violence of climate change, which is on such a huge scale. I mean, here at this conference, we've been talking about decisions made by negotiators about 1.5 versus 2 degrees, and one route could lead to the deaths of additional deaths of millions of people. So the stakes are very high, and what I have seen is a huge commitment in the activist community to keeping the focus on the issues. You know, no protest organizer is able to control everyone. There have been many cases of provocateurs at protests. We have to know that, and I just hope that the media here in this room and in the streets tomorrow shows respect for what these organizers are trying to do and doesn't play into the hands of provocateurs by allowing this to just become a story about broken glass if that does happen, and I hope very much that it doesn't happen. I just want to say one more thing just about, you asked about the way the Danish police have handled the protests. I'm very pleased that there has been a permit given to the march to walk up to the Bella Center. But I think what we saw this weekend was just outrageous. That was an incredible nonviolent demonstration, 100,000 people on the streets. I was in the heaviest part of the march. It really didn't get heavy. Calling it a riot is not fair to rioters, okay? That was no riot. And yet 1,000 people were arrested. This is completely out of scale. And I think part of what's happening here in Copenhagen is that you know, there's been this huge rebranding effort. And it is related to what we're talking about here because you've got companies like Siemens and Coca-Cola who are, you know, saying that they're trying to co-brand with the summit and show Copenhagen as this place where this decisive summit happened. And it doesn't have room for what people want to say about what's not working about this summit. So people are just being, you know, taken out of the picture whenever the message interrupts with that Copenhagen message. And so my message to the Danish police and to the Danish state is that yes, it's your city and we respect you for all you've done to go green, and we love your bicycles and your windmills, but it's our world and everyone has a right to have their say.